When the pandemic hit in America in 2020, I got a lead through my website from a law firm here in the Atlanta area that wanted to update their website. It was quite outdated. It happened to be on a platform that I specialized in called Joomla, which is how they found me through Google. They ended up sending an inquiry saying, hey, we need to update our website, make some changes to it. As those conversations unfolded and as they became a client, they essentially told me now that it's 2020 and the pandemic's hit and everyone thinks going virtual and digital, perhaps we should take advantage of this internet marketing thing. So here they are, 2020, and they're finally starting to get serious about their website and their content marketing. They actually had a newsletter that they were writing the content, they were having it printed, and they were literally mailing it with postage and all to their list of thousands of people. All of a sudden, 2020, for whatever reason, the pandemic ended up being a trigger. There was a lot of scrambling with a lot of my clients. Like, what do we do? I was wondering, how were things going to unfold? Did I need to adapt? Did they need to adapt? And so a lot of adapting started to take hold. And it really reminded me of the law of diffusion of innovation. So I want to pull up this graphic. In case you're not familiar with this graphic, this is the diffusion of innovation. This identifies these 5 stages. So we have innovators, those are the front edge. Then we have early adopters. Then we have the early majority, the late majority, and the laggards. And then if you're familiar with the idea of crossing the chasm is going from the early adopters to the early majority. And that's really the point where you want to tip the scales and grow and scale your business, scale your organization. One of the interesting dynamics about the pandemic is a lot of laggards got pushed forward. And this law firm was one of those laggards. And I was happy to help them. I could help bring them along into the 21st century. But while they were a laggard, I wanted to highlight just one really key insight because I think this gives a contrast to just how important some of the fundamentals are, even as technology changes. Ironically, as far behind as they were technologically, the thing that they were doing that was super vital was they were writing a newsletter. They were creating content as a habit. They were doing it every single month, and they've been doing it for decades. They happen to be sending it out in a archaic kind of way. But once they came to me, I was able to help them by publishing these newsletters to their website and sending them out through their email platform. And that's the key here is they were able to hire me as an expert marketer to actually take what they were already doing, which is this habit of content creation, and then be able to publish and distribute it. And that actually is more important to have that habit of content creation than it is to have the technology to be able to send out and publish that content. I have the hardest time getting some clients to create content, even though it is the lifeblood of any business, of any freelancer, to be able to grow their business, to be able to grow their online influence, and to be able to generate the income really that they're looking for. These types of clients can have all the technology in the world and access to all of these things. But if they're not actually creating the content for me, there's limits to what I can do to help them. Because what I do is I help amplify the content that they're already creating and spreading it online in ways that'll help them grow their business. So while a client that has a habit of content creation, if they don't have the technology piece, I can help them do that. I can help add that to their process. But if they already have the technology, but they don't have the habit, that is so much more difficult to get them to establish that habit, to follow through on it, and to maintain it. And it really comes down to having a mindset and a commitment to creating that content as an absolute necessity for building their business. Now, I want to share one other insight that I think is super helpful. This article comes from the founder of organizational physics, Lex Sisney, and this talks about AI and structure and just the importance of having structure when you're using AI. So if you're using ChatGPT or Google Gemini, this is going to be something you're going to want to pay attention to. And this is going to tie into what I was just talking about when it comes to the habit of content creation and the ability to amplify that content online. In his summary insight on this article, he says, AI won't fix chaos, it reveals it. Your structure, not your stack, decides whether agents scale execution or get thrown out. And when he's talking about agents, he's talking about AI agents, which is going to be one of the next iterations of AI, is the ability for you to have these entities that go off and do things for you across applications. What he's talking about is the idea of AI being helpful. It's more of an amplifier of what your situation is. If you're in chaos, with AI, you're going to get more chaos. If you have order and structure, AI is going to help you scale and grow beyond what you could have without AI. But the key there is to have a foundation of structure, order, clarity, and intention that the AI can tap into and then be able to scale up. And if you don't have that in place, if you don't have the habit in place, if you don't have the structure in place, AI is going to just ruin what you do have. It's going to reveal to you the problems that you have that won't allow you to take advantage of AI. So the key takeaway for you here is understand what it is you're trying to accomplish. What is it that you want? And what are the foundational habits? What are the core tenets that are required to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish? And then think about technology, whether it's AI or something else, as a way to amplify that thing. And if you try to amplify it and you end up with a mess on your hands, that's probably an indication that you missed out. You didn't quite understand what the foundation was. And it's an opportunity for you to revisit and review and reflect and figure out what that is. As someone who creates content to amplify influence and grow income, the habit of creating is the key. Writing daily, doing videos daily, whatever your medium is, creating podcasts weekly, doing webinars bi-weekly, whatever your medium is, it's choosing it, committing to it, and doing it consistently, and taking that as the raw material to then repurpose, publish, and distribute across the internet. When you have that foundation in place, technology will help you do that more effectively and at a larger scale than you were before. I'm Jason Scott Montoya, and I'll see you on the next video.
Are you a small business owner? Have you hit a glass ceiling where year over year, you cannot rise above a certain revenue level? Check out Jason Scott Montoya's book, The Jump, to discover how to level up your leadership and pivot your entrepreneurial passion to the highest level.